Adam Cavalier alongside Carson-Newman head men's basketball coach Chuck Benson. Chuck Fall for the 5th time this season in a game decided by 5 points or less, in a game that it felt like at times you were right on the cusp, but 3 turnovers in the final 120 seconds ultimately undoes you in terms of winning time today. What happened down the stretch with some chances to tie or put more game pressure on Lenoir-Rhyne?
Well, first of all, I want to give a lot of credit to Lenoir-Rhyne in the second half. I felt like Mason Hawks just absolutely went into to the stratosphere with shot making. And it's one thing to take him, another thing to make him, and he made some big ones. And I thought that obviously R.J. Gunn, this was not his typical kind of day, but I still thought he had some critical baskets there. He and Darius Simmons both. So, credit to them because they really performed well the second half. I thought that we, as I've been telling you, I think we're making progress, but we take a step forward, we take a step backward, we take a step forward, we take a step backwards, and they're in winning. They're late. They're late, as you said. That we had some critical turnovers when we're trying to get a higher percentage look on the offensive end, and I think about Trip Davis makes a great defensive play, gets it, is going coast to coast, and gets into the paint, and then kicks it out for a 3, and Camille, I couldn't really see. I guess he stepped out of bounds. We do another. We get a stop. We come down. We set up a sort of a play designed to get the ball inside. We turn that over. As I told the guys, look, we have to understand that the team that makes the fewest mistakes has the best chance of winning, and we've got to continue to try to be focused for 40 minutes, not for 30, not for 32. We got to be focused for 40 minutes, and that's got to really sort of go to a whole nother level when it's close in winning time and be really sound and secure with the ball. So, this is pain. It's a painful loss, and we just got to try to see what we can take from this as we move on to Queens on Saturday.
You told me pregame that you wanted to deny catch threes, and it felt like for the most part you did that against Mason Hawks. He made 2 early, and you called a timeout after both of them.
Yeah.
And I think the final 5 he made were fading away
off
the bounce from NBA range. An incredible shooting display.
You'd have had to have been in here to really appreciate what that guy did the second half. Like I said, I mean, it's one of the things that if a guy can get a shot off that's an elite shooter, there's a chance it could go in. And he stepped up and did it. And, you've got to give him credit on that. What do you say? I mean,
you wouldn't do anything different defensively.
Well, I mean, since he made it, you'd be like, maybe we can get a little closer. But as you said, I mean, one of the ones he took there, literally, he's NBA plus range, dribbling backwards and falling away, and Trip Davis is there. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you got to give the guy credit. He's an elite shooter, and he proved it today.
You look at this game, you did a really nice job, especially in the first half, of getting the ball inside. 16 of 23 from the field inside the painted area. What did you do to establish that, especially in the first half?
Well, you said it. I mean, we made a big deal that, we wanted to be really intentional about getting the ball inside, especially on the road, and not settling. And I felt like the first half, I thought we were more intentional about that. Of course, they played some zone the first half, and that allowed us to get sort of the ball into the paint area easier. They didn't really do that the second, which I thought was a smart move on their part. But the second half, I mean, we weren't as I don't know. We weren't maybe as, I keep on saying this word, intentional. They're getting the same message for 40 minutes, and I think right now we're not quite capable of delivering, on some of those things for 40 at this point. And we've got to continue to stress it and emphasize it and show guys the tape and let them understand that this is just, it is what it is. I mean, it just is what it is.
How frustrating is it in a game like this where you make more field goals than your opponent. You make more free throws. You out-rebound them by double figures. You play pretty clean basketball in terms of turnovers and all these markers for what's typically add up for a winner there.
Yeah.
And a team goes crazy and makes threes. How do you handle that adversity?
Well, I mean, in every experience, there are takeaways, and for our team, there are plenty of them. I think in this particular game, sort of the collective sort of second half inability to establish that inside scoring punch hurt us. I think the second half in winning time under the 4-minute media, we were a little bit too careless with the ball when we had chances to have capitalized. You did see there was some misses there at the rim that were, EJ and Reese and Andre, they had some pretty close little bunnies there that didn't fall, but they were still good looks. But I think we got to be more intentional about getting the thing in there and then in winning time, capitalizing, not turning the ball over. And then, of course, on the other side of the ball, I mean, I don't know. Their shot making from three was exceptional. And I'm not sure that there's a whole lot more you do. They got to still make them. I mean, they're taking them. They got to make them. So, but like you said, there's a lot of things. A plus 10 rebound margin. We make more shots than they make.
More free throws at a more efficient clip.
It's sort of a weird stat line. But as you and I've looked at this year, there's been a lot of sort of weird stat line things that typically haven't lined up for our teams over the last decade. So it's sort of hard to interpret it a little bit.
Turn your attention to a very good Queens team on Saturday, finally back at home for the first time this decade. What do you have to do to prepare for Bart Lundy's club? Always good.
Well, I think first and foremost, we have got to address the things that we did well today and the things that we didn't do so well and use it as a teaching point. I think then we have to quickly move on to focusing Thursday and Friday on Queens. Obviously, Queens is a very, very good team. They're very, very capable, and we've got to be able to bounce back quickly and perform at a high level. Thankfully, this will be our first home game at this new year, so we'll be excited about that.
Chuck, pleasure as always. We'll talk to you Saturday.
Thanks, Cap.